He's a polarizing figure.
He is.
And I said this week.
Odd way, he's controversial.
But he's uncontroversial, and it's only by surrounding.
Right. He doesn't do controversial things.
The reason why he is controversial or polarizing, one, he went to Alabama. How we saw him, he came in, replaced Jalen Hurts in the national championship game and won the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, boom. You see the freshman quarterback. Oh, my God, I'm going to have to see this kid for the next 2-3 years. He's in Alabama.
Coming out of high school, he was the number one player.
He was the number one player, right. But now he's going to Alabama. Alabama was the New England Patriots college football. Nobody loved Alabama because they kept on being in the college football picture, playoffs,
LSU got him.
Or BCS or whatever. But they were the team to beat in college football.
Joe Burrow got him.
Yeah, Joe Burrow did get him. But I could say, that's when also Tua had a bad hip. But
he had a bad foot at that point.
He
didn't have the hip yet.
He was all messed up, but he still put 400 yards on your asses.
He did, yeah.
After missing 2 weeks.
That upset me a little bit. He was fine during the whole game throwing for 400 yards.
And then after the game.
Then when they got beat, he starts limping off the field. Don't do that.
But he still put 400 crippled.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Burrow put up 500.
I mean, that was one of the best teams of all time. But the fact of the matter, it's always been his surroundings. It's always been his surroundings. It's never been him. It's always been his surrounding.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to compare him to Tebow because Tebow was also polarizing. Yeah. But people hated Tebow because Tebow was actually up front and, sharing his views politically, religiously, whatever.
Right.
Tua's never said anything.
No.
But people have an opinion on him. And it's never been anything that he's done.
No,
it's
he hadn't
always
said anything.
Seems
done
to me,
anything.
It's always the surroundings that he's in. And then he proved it with Mike McDaniel.
Mm-hmm.
The offense has been unbelievable.
It has.
Now, can they beat good teams? Can they win a game in the playoffs? Can he be healthy?
That's what you worry.
He showed that he can remain healthy. He played all.
He did.
He played all 18 games last year.
Yeah.
So now what is it now?
This is the thing. People are saying this about Tua. Is it all just mirror muscles? It looks good. The offense could score 70 against a garbage Denver Broncos team that doesn't know what they're doing. But when it gets down to the meat and really, really important stuff, is it just, like it's like pop candy? Can't live off of it, but it's fun. It's enjoyable. We'll see. Why is Tua so polarizing? I have a few ideas why. I'll talk about it next here on Sports Day 560 WQAM. Got a couple ideas on why he might be polarizing. And of course, it's an amalgamation of things. It's not just one thing, but I think, being honest, part of it is a small part of it, not a big part. He's Hawaiian, and that's kind of foreign to people sometimes. Even though it's United States, it's a faraway island. People don't automatically, affiliate themselves so much with that. He played at Alabama. That's one of those things. Like, oh, he had all the wide receivers. He had everybody, the best players in the nation. Now everybody can be good in that system. Number 3, the injuries have not helped him. But number 4, I really think it's his look, his size. Being a little bit undersized has a lot of people raise question marks. And you get hurt. And then you say you're small and he's undersized. And you got a Joe Burrow who looks like a prototypical quarterback. Everyone says, whoa, Justin Herbert, who's done exactly what Tua, maybe not even as good of a career so far as Tua. People don't question that because he has the look of a quarterback. And I think a little bit of it is just Tua's size and the way he looks. He looks different than a prototypical quarterback.
And something that a lot of the guys are saying on Twitch and on text messages.
I was going to bring this up, yeah.
Tua's nice.
Yeah. He comes off of a very squeaky clean.
And I think they hate that. It's really because if you also, I mentioned too, Tebow. Tebow was squeaky clean. Mr. Clark Kent.
Very polarizing.
Very polarized. It's like,
but Tyreek Hill can talk about doing porn and all this other craziness, and everybody loves him.
Well, that's the craziness because back in the days, they all look for the Mr. Congeniality, they look for
choir boys.
The choir boys. Those were the guys like, Roger Staubach, the Navy man and married and, committed and religious and all of that. And then now it's as if that's you. Nobody likes you. Nobody liked Tim Duncan because
he's too plain,
right? But they also don't like the Floyd Mayweathers of the world because you're too brag and too boastful.
Right.
So it's like, what is it? What do you want from your athletes? Do you want them to be?
You want them to be super good.
They are good,
right?
But then if they're not personable, you're upset because they're not personable. And then if they're too personable but they're not good, it's like all they care about is off the field antics and
I will say
their
this,
brand.
and I spent some time in the locker room last year, especially after games. Tua, to the media and the way he talks, is different than he talks to his teammates. He's a lot more charismatic and a lot more personable when he's just hanging out talking to his teammates.
But guess what? Athletes don't need to share anything with us, bro.
Well, they do need to do media. Yes, that is part of that contract.
Okay, so you ask the questions and I answer it, but I don't got to share. I don't need
right. But what I'm saying is Tua comes off as very very humble and very shucks.
Which is what you want from your franchise quarterback. You don't want your franchise quarterback being braggadocious. At least that's what that's what owners would want.
Well, yeah, you'd like less trouble from the face that you paid $15 million.
But you also want quarterbacks to be who they are. Like, here's an example: Cam Newton and I believe the Panthers owner, which was Jerry Richardson at the time, or maybe it was the owner after Jerry Richardson, but asking them like, I want my quarterback to not wear a ring, and I want my quarterback not to wear a do-rag because you're representing us and stuff like that. People have their old school thought process. They have they like it the old ways, and there's certain guys like Mike McDaniel who's young, who's hip, who's in touch with the culture, the young culture, that are down like, okay, nah, man, I'm wearing Nike Fits. I'm wearing custom design sneakers, and on the field I'm looking very comfortable. I want my players to do that. Tua is who he is. Tua, we know he's a family man.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever fronted on us. I don't think anything that Tua's ever shown us has been fake or orchestrated. He's been real. I just think sometimes we're so used to and the fan base down here is so used to Dan, and Dan was everywhere. But Dan also had that attitude, that swagger, that look, like he
looked like a prototypical quarterback,
right? But here's the thing about looking like a prototypical quarterback, fam. Russell Wilson don't look like a prototypical quarterback.
Everybody hates him.
Drew Brees didn't look like no prototypical quarterback.
He was undersized.
Right. But they love Drew Brees everywhere.
He won.
Okay. But it took him a while to win.
Oh, it takes a while, yeah.
So why can't we give
Lamar Jackson,
same grace to Tua?
Lamar Jackson doesn't look like a prototypical quarterback. He's won 2 MVPs and people still question if he's that good.
Well,
what are we doing?
Well,
Because he can't beat Patrick Mahomes?